38 Special plus P versus 9mm plus P and our SIG V-Crown ammunition. Now, you might notice that our 9mm says M17, and that is basically our military hollow point nowadays. It's our M17 with our V-Crown here. But a lot of people like to see, quote unquote fair tests or comparison when I do this stuff, which has always been interesting to me, because when I do comparisons, I'm not doing competitions, I'm just comparing one to the other. But what I want to do today is something that people would consider fair and in a concealed carry size gun. So what we're looking at with our 9mm, it's a 124 plus P V-Crown, and our 38 Special is a 125 grain plus P V-Crown. So very comparable, fair, and all of that. So I'm going to compare these through my Taurus G2C for our 9mm and Taurus 605 for our 38 Special. This is one of the most fair comparisons I can do with gun sizes, because they're basically the same size, they basically weigh the same, bullet travel is near identical. They're pretty much a perfect comparison between 9mm and 38 Special. So I've been wondering for a while how this stuff will actually do in ballistics shell. And you see with our 38 Special, it's got a bigger hollow cavity than our 9mm. So even though 9mm is typically more powerful, maybe that'll play a role in how this stuff performs. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I do at the same time. Then I'm going to do my current protocol here, where I just go through plain clear ballistics, and that's it for a couple of shots that would simulate no barriers, no clothing, nothing like that. And then I'll do a couple of shots where we go through our 4 layers of denim, a real world scenario, and we go through 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent a pectoral muscle, and then a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum, and to more clear ballistics. And we'll see how our best case scenario with no denim or anything like that compares to our real world scenario. And then, because these are concealed carry size guns, I'm going to go up to 12 yards and just fire up my full size steel silhouette, just to kind of see how they rate overall, what their practical accuracy is. So let's get started with this test. All right, the 9mm doesn't have a rated velocity on the box. The 38 Special does, and it says 965 feet per second. That's probably through a 4-inch barrel. So let's see what we get for velocity and accuracy. Start up with our 9mm, see what we get with this. 1159, 1155, 1154, something pretty hot burned me. I don't know what that was. 1150, 1146. So our velocity is very, very consistent, but it feels like pretty hot ammo in more than one way. So our 38 Special rated at 965 feet per second. Let's see how close we get to that in our 2-inch barrel here. 829, 879, 872, 904, 896. So not particularly consistent. I mean, it was, except for that one round. But that's about what you normally get out of something like this. So let's hit our ballistics gel block with these and just see what we get. All right, now into our ballistic test. I'm going to do 1 shot of 9mm, then 1 shot of 38 Special into just straight plain clear ballistics. So here's our 9mm. All right, let's see how our 38 Special does. Let's go up and take a look. So that was pretty surprising, because that's basically identical penetration. Now I can see that the 9mm has a more consistent expansion. It looks like the 38 Special is kind of slightly expanded, but the damage is about the same. And this kind of proves one point I've tried to make for a while. Sometimes I see, when you have a bigger hollow cavity, even if there's less energy, it still does a pretty good job. So with our 9mm, what I can tell is it looks like we're at about 12 3/4 inches penetration, and with our 38 Special, we are about the same, 12 3/4 penetration. Let's try our barriers now with our denim and our 1/4 inch MDF, see how that does. All right, so now our real world scenario. With 4 layers of denim and a 1/4 inch MDF. Let's see how this does. 9mm. Alright. Let's try our 38 Special now. See how that compares. Let's go up, take a look. Alright, so we can definitely see something there with our real world scenario testing here. Bottom ones are 9mm, top ones are 38 Special, and we can definitely see that before we get to the medium density fiberboard with our 9mm, it did start to expand a little bit. And that becomes apparent here with more damage right about there. Now up here, it's kind of hard to see it because the angle goes kind of this way and not straight up and down, but there's almost as much damage with that 38 Special as there's right here with our 9mm. Not quite though, but overall we definitely are going to see more damage with that 9mm. Interesting thing here though is our 9mm expanded a little bit and still went deeper than our 38 Special. So what we got for our 9mm through our real world scenario is about 17.5 inches. Perfectly fine in my opinion there. We're not over penetrating at all. Now with our 38 Special, we went to about 16.25 inches. Again, that's perfect penetration. Now we didn't get expansion on that, but that looks really decent to be honest. It did pretty similarly, and it kind of did. It just didn't expand quite as big. So they did all right. So let me shoot from that 12 yards and we'll just see what kind of practical accuracy I can get and do some reloads. All right, I'm about 12 yards from the target, so I'm gonna run a few rounds of this until we run out. Then I have a spare magazine, and we'll just see here. I'm just gonna set this here for convenience, and we'll just see how it feels when I go to do a reload with this, and just how this ammo feels for me. So here's our 9mm. Safety on. Let me try that again. So I didn't have really a very good grip on that pistol on that reload because that's something I don't practice all the time. Well, I'm going to move on to a 38 Special. I'm going to kind of do the same thing here. Let me pull out my reload. I'm just going to set it here for convenience in the holster. And I'll do some shots on target with the 38 Special, see how that does. I did miss one, and I'm going to say the felt recoil here between both of these is about the same. So that is actually a pretty stout feeling 9mm, and you know, to be honest, it did have some good power. We were approaching 400 foot-pounds in a little short barrel, so it is a very hot round. And then it was kind of weird that I felt burning on my finger, like some powder blasted back and was burning my finger. It was kind of interesting why that would happen. I've never had that happen, but I'm going to say overall though, you know, these are really comparable with this ammo because the felt recoil, the shootability, very similar. The damage in the gel without any barriers or best case scenario, very similar. Now, where the 9mm does have slight advantage, at least in this particular testing, is that we did get a little bit more penetration and a little bit more expansion through our real world scenario. Does that necessarily mean it's going to be more effective than this 38 Special? I don't know. A lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, you got more capacity here though, capacity. Yeah, that's something. But I'm going to say, honestly, right now, when I look at these particular platforms, and this is really a really fair comparison with them weighing the same, having the same amount of barrel travel, being basically the same size to carry, this is really similar. I don't think you could go wrong with either of these, because I've seen some really bad ammo in both 9mm and 38, and I've seen a lot worse ammo in 38, to be honest, over the years of testing. And this didn't do that bad, because even when it didn't want to expand to that real world scenario test, it still did a lot of damage. It did not over penetrate. So that hollow cavity design is a pretty solid design, because you know, if you can't get it to expand, at least it does something to slow it down. Is kind of my take on that. So that's what you get today. Short barrels, concealed carry, 9mm versus 38, you know, plus P, 9mm+P versus 38+P, SIG V Crown bullets. Pretty comparable. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.